Hey, this is Ampillion, and I've been a big fan of World of Horror for a bit. Now the game is out of early access, I thought I would throw together just a quick tutorial. Unfortunately, the in-game version isn't particularly as informative as it needs to be to kind of help cut through some of the information overload. Well, the game will kind of spring on you right out of the gate. So the game does recommend starting with the school scissors option right from the beginning, but I'd actually honestly suggest going with the extracurricular activity option. It does give you a better first time playing message when you click through that will help you sort out some of the game's RPG elements a bit better. So the first screen you get to here will kind of explain to you what the old god is for this particular run. This is the kind of the entity you're trying to prevent from being woken up. The important info is down here, the old god's rule, and it kind of just tells you what you need to be on the lookout for, what kind of actions you should probably take. So in here, you'll get to, this is kind of just the opening area, and you'll want to go into your home. Once you're in here, you'll see that there's all your options are down here on the bottom left. You've got a few different flavor options, such as like watching TV or peeking through the peephole. Some of them will provide you with information like potential clues for unlocks, maybe some little hints on things that happen in some of the investigations. You can also change your outfit in the change your clothes option here. The bath option will let you recover some of your stamina and reason in between investigations, though at the very beginning, it'll also let you get the small XP boost, just in case you are good on both stamina and reason. You can come in and grab that real quick. As an additional thing to keep an eye out for, if you hit the Z key, it'll highlight everything in an area so that you can kind of figure out what you can click on in the environment. From the mystery screen here, you'll see a selection of potential missions to complete, as well as the reroll button up here, just in case you want to change out any of these. There might be particular missions that you want to get in a sequence, or maybe you just want to see a new one, perhaps. Maybe there's one you haven't seen yet. Once you choose the investigation itself, some of them will have their own unique rule sets and splash screens for that specific thing, where you might be confined to a single location and you have to interact with things within that. Many others will take you to this here, which is kind of the Shirakawa overview. Since World of Horror is basically based heavily off of a board game called Arkham Horror, the locations in the middle are kind of like decks of cards, and investigating them down here is kind of like just drawing a card out of that deck. Some locations also have extra options on the side, such as item shops, or places to rest and regain your stamina, or things like the pharmacy or the doctor's office will let you heal injuries. Also, off to the side here, you'll notice that some of these areas have various bars and little indicators on them that tell you sort of what the threat level of the area is. As you'll see, like this one here says that the downtown area has a low threat, which means any of the skill checks that you do there will have a -1. On the bottom right under your character, you have additional tabs to look through that'll tell you some additional info, such as your list of spells if you have any, any of your statistics, your conditions that you may have run into, injuries, that sort of thing, curses. Your allies and your perks are things that you might pick up over the course of the investigation. Anytime you level up, you'll get a perk, and this will tell you information about that particular perk. The town status just gives you a brief synopsis of what's going on in the town at large. Generally, this won't be changed until after the end of each investigation. You'll get a new one that kind of affects different things in the city. The U tab is just a listing of the log, which will show you more text just in case you've missed something, as well as an opportunity to level up here as well. The old god list just shows you the particular god for this run, as well as what the old god's rule is, just in case you've forgotten. Also worth noting is the side quest tracker here, which indicates a condition that has to be met during the course of your current investigation. Completing this side quest will typically net you a different ending, or some extra experience, or some sort of item that might be important to solving the investigation differently. So most shops share a pretty common layout. They will contain all the items here on the left, and it kind of explains to you that in the text box in the middle what those items do, what equipment slots they will slot into if they do, and any of the details on them will be listed there, especially like cost, benefits. If it's a weapon, it will list a combat type, damage type. Let's see if I can get one to show up here. It's usually the steak knife. Oh. So you'll see that the steak knife has the damage, the type of damage it does, which is sharp, one-handed, which is kind of just flavor as far as like how fast a weapon is. As well as what statistic it is connected to, and this one is Dex. The higher your stat, the better the weapon. While you're here, make sure if you buy any weapons or find any to equip them before you get into a combat, because you can't actually equip most weapons once the combat has started. If it's in your inventory, it's there until the next time you get to it. So when you choose a location to investigate, you'll usually get one of two things. You'll get either a skill check or a combat. Skill checks like this give you one of a couple of options, and they typically will represent different statistics. You select one, it'll do a check, and it'll tell you whether you've passed or failed. Some don't specifically have an actual check. It's just an event happens, this thing happens. On skill checks where there is a roll or there is a stat checked, you will typically see this. If you want to see the dice roll, the game will roll a d12, and it checks based off of rolling your statistic number here, that number or lower on the dice counts as a success. If you want to turn on the dice roll, just in case you're curious, you can turn it on in the options under extra map. So if you enter into a combat, there'll be a lot more information to wrangle with. Starting at the top left, you'll see the monster's name and the type, which may be important depending on things like spells or perks that you have. It also lists the creature's HP, the type of damage that the monster does, as well as its power, which is kind of just a general clue to how easy or hard it is to hit. The higher this number, the harder it is to hit the creature. So the way combat works, you are loading up a combat bar with a sequence of actions, and so you want to try to find the way to slot the most damage into the bar. When you hover over attacks, such as kick or attack with your weapon, if you have one, you'll see to the left just how much time it takes up on that bar, as well as the amount of damage that attack does and its base chance to hit. You also see some options here about attacking with allies, or boosting the attack, or preparing for the attack, which will enhance your base attack. So, such as this is 60%. For each one of these you stack in front of it, it'll increase it by an additional 10%. So now that's a 90% chance to hit. You'll see, though, that you only have 8 maximum options you can slot into a bar, so you can't just spam a bunch of attack boosts and then get one attack off or a couple attacks off that way. You only have... So under support actions, you'll get a variety of different options that can boost your hit percentages, can increase your own damage, kind of let you find weapons on the fly just in case you don't have any. You can also assess the situation, and you can figure out some things about the creature. Some of those flavor text, other things will tell you maybe the weakness to a damage type. Some of the other things require you to meet certain health thresholds, such as this requires you to have stamina or reason to be below 3, but it lets you double your damage for a round, just in case you are desperate to kill an enemy real quickly. So as for defensive actions, there are a few things here that will let you mitigate some damage or potentially dodge incoming damage. Some of those are based off of your dex for dodge or strength for brace. This means that if you have a higher strength or dex, this will take less time on the bar. They do eat up a lot of space on the bar, and they are potentially more useful in fights where a creature does a lot more damage. So, you know, one reason maybe not as something to concern yourself about as maybe 3 or even 4 potential damage for a larger creature. The meditate option here, meanwhile, just lets you switch out 1 reason for the cost of 2 stamina. So if you're low on reason, you really desperately need some, you might be able to swap that out. Finally, for spiritual actions, it gives you access to Pray, which is the alternative to the previous one, where you can gain 1 stamina at the cost of 2 reason, as well as the clap and bow functions, which are sort of a code breaker style minigame. You're trying to find a sequence of 5 bows and claps. Once you find that sequence, you can use it to destroy a creature, although it only works on ghosts or potentially some other things maybe. But if you see the ghost icon up here, it will also have some other additional actions down here that will kind of clue you into it being a ghost. So once you gain enough experience to get a level up, you'll see this screen up here show up, and this will start blinking. Once you click on it, you can see the perks that you can gain on the left, and a selection of stats or health here on the right. Certain perks are specific to the character you're playing, such as discipline here for the swimming captain, as well as generic skills that most all characters can pick. Some skill checks will ask for specific perks, and having those will provide you with the unique encounters, items. Permanent increases are harder to come by than your health recovery, and usually a better choice, unless your doom is pretty high and you can't rest at home, or your choice of character might make some of those stats a little less important. Beyond that, once you've completed all the investigations, you'll head to the lighthouse and wrap up your run. Good luck. That should be all you need to get started and have a good chance of clearing a few runs. If you're interested in unlocking other in-game content, be it characters or new events, my suggestion would be the first place to check would be to go into extras and check out the achievements, and you'll see a list of various things that you can unlock and some of the things that might be required to do that. I'll leave the rest up to you. Have fun with this roguelike retro-themed nightmare.